and welcome to Conversations with Psychic Roundtable on YourTV. We know that you're missing us because we're missing you, and so I thought we would get together with people who've been on the show or do interesting things and chat with them, have a little conversation. I'm Marilyn Shannon, and joining me today is Debra Savoy. Debra, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're very welcome, and I'm honored to be here. I was so happy that you contacted me and shared what you were doing, and I thought, this is awesome. So yes, thank you.
Well, you know, we're thrilled on the show that we get lots of calls and emails and stuff, but we don't get to talk about what you do and how you do it and why you do it. So tell me, what do you do?
Well, I'm a spiritual medium, which means that I can hear, see, and feel energy, and I connect with vibrations with people and with their spirit guides and with past lives and what's going to happen in the future, what happened in the past, and how it affects us and what's going on right now. And I've been doing this professionally for 7 years, but my whole life, really, because you're kind of born with it. And then over time it develops and becomes full blown, which it did for me. And so that's what I do. I see people one-on-one, not right now, obviously, but through Skype and FaceTime. I see large groups and people all over the world. I'm really lucky.
It is amazing how we can connect with people all over the world. Yeah. And here on Zoom or Skype or on the phone, heaven forbid, the old-fashioned phone. So how do you find it works working remotely?
Well, you know, when all of this massive worldly shift took place, that's what I prefer to call it. I was already seeing clients virtually, so it really wasn't that much of a difference for me. What changed kind of slightly was the larger groups, which I absolutely love to do on Zoom. So families and friends get together and it looks like the Brady Bunch, actually. It's pretty cool. And I found, for me, not much has changed with connection because spirit has no limitation. Your spiritual energy has no limitations. It really doesn't. So people don't realize that when you sit and think about somebody, you're sending them love and they can feel that. So it's really no different for us in the way that we do things in connecting with people's energy. So not much has changed, really. You know, even remote healing and energy healing and so on and so forth, and receiving messages, and it hasn't changed at all.
No, when you consider we're talking to people who are not physically here.
True.
You know, that's that spiritual connection, and they really do talk to us and let us know what's going on. I just wanted to back up a little minute here because I remember that you owned the bookstore in Gananoque, and I've heard you say that people would come in and you just knew that there was a message for them and you couldn't contain yourself.
Yes.
So was that the start of doing this full time?
Yes. Yes, it was. I think that, honestly, I think spirit was grooming me, so to speak. And I say that with an abundance of love, teaching me to move ego out of the way where I would doubt what I was feeling or seeing or hearing. And being in the public eye like I was in my bookstore, it was literally a constant invitation of beautiful people coming in for healing. And my minister at my church, my former church, said to me one day, "Deb, this is not a bookstore, this is a ministerial front." And I always got a kick out of that, but never really understood what he meant until much later on, when I really was able to help people. And it wasn't, I've always been like that. I've always been helpful and, you know, helping. I would almost, I don't know if they seeked me out or I seeked them out or however it worked, but always seemed to be in a position of wanting to help. And I think that was in me. And for me, it had to do with being a healer all along and coming from generations of healers. So this was, being a medium wasn't really new to me because both my grandmothers were mediums. I knew growing up about one of my grandmothers who I spent an immense amount of time with, which was my mom's mom. And she was a medium, but she was very afraid of it. So she had suffered severely from agoraphobia and literally was a shut-in for a good part of her life. And but they would still come to her. It didn't make a difference whether she was out in public or not. They would come to her.
Yes.
And then I found out after I came out of the proverbial closet to my father that I could speak to spirits. He informed me, which I didn't know, that my other grandmother was also a medium in New Brunswick, and she was a tarot card reader, and people would come from all over New Brunswick to get readings from her. And I was like, holy cow, I had no idea. And so it totally made sense to me, of all of the little snippets throughout my life, those moments where it was like, what is happening, to the moment where I was fully awake, that it all really made sense to me. So yeah. And then my great grandmother, and I'm probably not enough greats in there, but grandmother was in the War of 1812, and she won an award from the American president for having saved the lives of many American soldiers. And that is Mary Hoople from Hoople Creek, just kind of in and around Cornwall. And so that was my grandfather's, my mom's grandfather, my mom's dad, his grandmother, his great-great-grandmother. So there's a lot of kind of like down spiral of that. So yeah.
It's fascinating how it comes along through families, and sometimes not.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
it's like, where did I get this gift?
Yeah.
So one question I wanted to ask, and that occurred to me, because our next guest sends energy out. You receive energy, and then of course you do give it out by giving messages, but it's interesting, the medium in you,
yes,
receives messages.
mm-hmm.
What is in it? Why do people come to see you? What's in it for them?
Well, first of all, I feel very strongly that the universe puts people in my path. I really, or vice versa, me and theirs. More so, I don't go seeking it, and I feel that it's an energy that draws people to my energy. And then for me, if I'm clear on the question, how it happens is, in my belief, that it happens above me. So it's like a conversation that I have with their energy, like the living person that is in front of me or on the screen. I tap into their energy, and the communication happens above. So it's almost telepathy in my belief. It's telepathy.
It is amazing how it works, and I do believe it's telepathy too.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'm all over Facebook, so you can see me at Canadian Spiritual Medium, Debra Savoy, Canadian Spiritual Medium. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter. Not as often on Twitter as I am on Instagram and Facebook. So yes, and I also have a website, debrasavoy.ca. Very simple. Click on that, and then it'll lead you to all my other stuff.
Thank you for joining us today, Debra. It was great.
Thank you so much, Marilyn, and have a beautiful day.
You as well.